At this place in history, we're in Castleton with Steve Perkins, Executive Director of the Vermont Historical Society. Steve, what brings us here this week?
Mike, we're going to talk about slate pencils.
All right.
Right? Slate pencil. So if you remember, if you're that old, we used slates in a classroom. Maybe you had a blackboard in your classroom and teachers used chalk on them. Well, back in the 19th century, school kids, or really anybody who wanted to take notes, had a handheld slate, maybe something similar to this, and they had to write on it. And one of the best things to write on it with was another piece of slate.
There you go.
And you can hear that nice sound.
Yep. Just like the chalk, but with even more heft to it, because again, the more dense material.
So there was a guy named John Cain. John Cain was from Rutland. The apocryphal story is that he was fishing in Sucker Brook. Sucker Brook is kind of right over our shoulder over there, and he needed a piece of rock to hold his line down. His line was floating away. Sure. So he picked up a piece of slate, because that's what this area is made out of, to attach to his line, and he noticed it was a little softer. And he tried scraping it on another piece of slate. He said, this writes really well.
Eureka.
Eureka. Yeah. You know what I can do? I can make pencils.
Yep.
So he took those rocks back to his home in West Rutland and hand carved them into slate pencils and sold them, and they started to make money. So he said, this sounds good. So he ended up buying property right here and built a small pencil factory. And he hired a bunch of people and brought in machines and started making pencils. And I actually have one of his pencils.
Oh my goodness,
right here.
Yes, let's see it.
So I'm going to hand you this.
Okay.
You hold that. And I'm going to show you this pencil, because this is a pencil made from slate right from here by John Cain. And you could notice it's not as clunky as that big one.
No.
It has a paper wrapping on it. It's sharpened at the end. And you can imagine, really easy to write with. But this is from the collection of the Vermont Historical Society. Ultimately, John sold, as most entrepreneurs do,
Sure.
and sold it to the Adams brothers that created Adams Manufacturing Company.
Pencil manufacturing transitioned away from slate toward graphite. Was it cheaper? Was it more widely available?
All of those things. But also think about how heavy these things are.
Yeah.
I'm holding a piece of rock in one hand and a piece of rock in another.
Right.
Now that I can get paper and wood and graphite pencils very cheaply, those are a lot lighter to carry around with me. And of course, many Civil War soldiers are now using pencil and paper to write home and getting used to that. So really, by the end of the Civil War into the 1870s, this operation wound down and ultimately went out of business in favor of the paper and pencil that we use today. But I think really cool. I mean, people don't think about how does one write on a slate. You use a slate pencil, and they're made right here in Castleton.
Slate pencils make their mark at this place in history.